Hello my friends, it's Jay here from Life Theories and also Journey of a Whitefeather. I hope everyone's well. Impromptu video, as you can see, really quick. We're going to try this video to be only an audio video. It's one of our first things we're going to try and do. We're having our guest on, Matt Beres, who's a relationship and life coach, and he has a lot of interesting things to say. Now, he will be doing a second part very soon. This one here is a preview, but it's audio only, so you can play it in the background when you're doing your work or whatever you need to do, so you actually don't have to watch it, you can listen to it. So this is our first try. I hope you enjoy it. It's a great chat. There's some really good questions that come up. It is a preview of the full version, okay? So you'll see that there'll be a few cuts here and there, but don't stress about that. Please enjoy the information that you're given. I will be interviewing him again with the rest of the Life Theories crew. So I hope you enjoy. Take care. Look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much for all your support. Remember, support Life Theories and Trailblazers of the Universe, Small Sarah Big Soul, Spiritual Needs TV, and of course, White Warrior Health, Journey of a Whitefeather. Take care. Namaste. Well, welcome. It's 5:15 a.m. in Australia. Bloody hell, there you go. Use that, bloody hell, mate. Got to go and throw a shrimp on the barbie. Hope everyone's well. Welcome to Life Theories with the Titans. Yeah, we've got in my superhero thing, but this is the way it is. We've got Diana, USA, otherwise known as Starfire. I'm Nightwing from Australia. There you go. This is just my cosplay thing. Maddie, I do a lot of superhero stuff down here for charity, as you might know. But we've got Maddie again, Matthew, from which part of the America are you from, mate? Sorry,
East Coast.
East Coast. There you go. Notes. Okay, I'm going to ask you one question about because we know that relationships in a lot of ways, and this is talking about. Whether it be I guess a relationship with a female or male or whatever it may be in a context of a deeper relationship, or maybe a friendship as well. There's two types of relationships where I look at, and why we attract certain people, because we've got this theory where, obviously karmic lessons, what we attract in our lives to learn lessons, and the other thing is just our energy in ourselves, within our minds. Are we attracting all those kind of people? Why do we attract why are we attracting certain people, and what's the and what is the lesson? Are they training us to meet our soulmate, I guess? Because we all want that, because we're all mammals in a lot of ways. We want that. We do want it. Deep down, we do want it. People can say they don't, but deep down, we do want that closest with somebody.
All right. Well, there's a lot of information that I could put with this, but I am going to try to simplify this. They talk about, we attract what we are. That seems to be a common theme for the last couple of years. We attract what we are. What you are is what your family, friends, coworkers. That's basically what it is.
Could you repeat that, Matty? Sorry, you dropped out. It froze for a second, mate.
Okay. We date with what we are familiar with. And what we are familiar with is a programming we received on understanding what relationships are when it comes to our family when we were children. Significant others, how we establish relationships in elementary school. That becomes our programming as adults on how to date. If you have an absent dad, you're going to date because of daddy issues. You didn't have a close connection with your mother, you're going to have codependency because of mommy issues. That's what our familiarity is. That's what we date. That's what we attract and what we are.
could we say, Matt, that that makes a lot of sense because you do attract that. I would say in anything where I've done the spiritual work, and Diana would agree with me that we're coming into a new being as such because we are reprogramming. We look back 6 to 12 months and we're better people than what we are, but we're still coming into our own with regards to this. And you wonder why certain situations happen, and you have to look back at yourself, I guess. Is that, and that's what you're saying, yeah?
I mean, I'm going to be straight up with everybody, both of you and every listener. How can you succeed at something you are programmed to fail? Bottom line.
Yep.
Okay. Now, I want to look at society as a whole. Okay. A lot of people don't know that the first date generates in the economy a multi-billion-dollar industry. That is going to bars, going to restaurants, going out for coffee. The first initial date creates a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Well, you're not wrong.
You got movies telling you what love is. You got movies telling you what dating is, what family is, what a relationship is. You got all these coaches saying, you know, oh, just go do this and go do that, and you're going to find love. You're going to find your soulmate. You're going to find your twin flame. That's not reality. I hate to say it, but it's not.
Would you say, Matty, that makes total bloody sense, to be perfectly honest. Do you think we play off our own old programming because we're so? I sort of found it out. Say we're looking at an emotion like, I guess you look at neediness or what's the other word I'm looking for? Acceptance. And because I always believe there's an emotion connected to each of it. So looking at the inner child as we do, look at that for that emotional want where we're sort of programmed to do that, and then obviously the economy's sort of taking the economy's taking that theory and using it. But is that fair to say? It's hard to put in words.
That's
I know where you're
fairly
going.
accurate to say.
Yeah, because I know where you're going with it. I see, because then you get this repeat process, as you said, because you get that. Let's say love's a drug.
Yeah,
love's a drug. I believe that, because if you get that nice feeling, you want more of it.
And a lot of people don't understand what is the number one first massive impact that we learn that is besides our parents or our siblings. I mean, a lot of people don't understand like the classic movies of Disney, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella. Okay, let's look at Cinderella for a prime example, okay, because that was like their iconic movie. Okay, if you really look at the baseline on what it is, it's a woman stuck in her head singing and dancing, having visions of this imaginary life outside of her reality. Then you got a guy who has to be tall and successful, who sees this beautiful woman, doesn't even know her name, but he's got to have her, is driven purely by ego, and next thing you know, he saves her from her own life, and they live happily ever after. That's what they call love. That's what they program into children. Now look at today's society. We go into relationships with a walking checklist. Are they tall, dark, and handsome? Are they successful? Are they this? Are they that? Before we even meet somebody, we got this criteria that somebody has to meet. This imaginary version of what a relationship and a person is. And people wonder why, like here in America, the divorce rate is over 60%.
Yep, agreed. It's shocking down here too, Matty. That makes total sense because, I mean, we can pretend to be Superman and Batman and all, as I said, goes back to my love of comics and all those kind of things. And as I said, I joke around about being the Titans. But you're absolutely correct because, you see, we're not really taught how to be in a proper relationship in a lot of ways, and then we get bad. We have our past experiences, and then you've got your lessons that you're learning in life as well. So you've got a lot to really deal with, haven't you? So, I mean, we're all influenced by what's happening outside, and I always believe whether you meet a friend or meet a lover or whatever it may be, it's always exciting for the first 2-3 weeks. All great, it's exciting. Then suddenly reality hits in, and then go, hang on a minute. And then people back on, you go, why the fuck did that? Excuse me. I go, no, it's going to be a disclaimer. Why the fuck did that happen? But we all have to look at ourselves, don't we, mate? This is great. You're 100% correct, I believe, anyway.
I mean, I teach a lot of dating worldwide, and I always tell people this one thing. If you want to date for a real relationship, then get rid of everything you know about dating. Everything you know about love. You have to go into a clean slate so you can learn how to do it. Love is the number one, like, common mistake that people do. Okay? They have this walking checklist that they give people.
Can I cut you off there for a minute? Sorry, Matty. And I'd say, as being a male, do people mistake sex for love as well, mate? Being from a male's perspective, because you're not taught. You're taught that it's part of it, and then I'll say it's used against you in some ways, and that's not a. It's part of it's basically more to do with the person having, I can pull back on here, you can pull back on here. So do you think men, especially young males, forget that emotion? And when you get older as a male, people just don't realize that men and women just want to be loved and accepted and happy. That's it. It's not, and men are more physical than women, physically visual than women, and that's we're made to look bad for that. In that way, so and they're sort of all used against us, and then the females are treated like absolute shit by misogynistic males, which is bullshit. And then they get a bad rep, and then it's sort of I say throws the algorithm or whatever you want to call, So what do you think about that? There's a lot to unpack there.
All right. Well, I actually took some notes for this because I knew this was going to come up. Okay.
Love it.
Sex always comes up when it comes to dating and relationships. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it very clear. Sex has nothing to do with love, a relationship, or dating. It is a primal instinct on every species on this planet. It's a primal instinct for every species on this planet to have the urge to breed, to mate, to find a partner for mating. It is a part of your DNA. Now, the younger you are, the higher your sex drive is, because the more in your prime you are to mate. That is both male and female. Our brain develops at the age of about 26 to 28. Only at that stage do we become aware that we don't really have the urges for sex as much as we did as a teenager and in our 20s.
Okay.
It's a primal instinct, natural reaction. Let's be honest. No male, no female falls in love with somebody's personality on the first time. They fall in love, or I should say lust, the urge for the physicality that they find attractive.
And there's nothing wrong with that in that way. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but you have to be, as you said, you're going to be aware of that's not exactly what that's sort of like the mating ritual in some ways. Cortez would love this with the seed retention he's doing. Yeah. I can't wait for him to listen to this. Sorry, mate. Sorry to interrupt there.
No, you're good. I mean, bottom line, sex is a bonus in dating and relationships because you get it more often. Okay, you have that consistency with the person that you actually have a mental and emotional connection with.
That's a nice thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and that goes for both male and females. I mean, there is a stereotype that males just want sex and females want the Disney fairy tale happily ever after. Women can be freaks in the bed just as much as males. I'm sorry, but they can't.
Absolutely.
It's a primal instinct urge of passion, desire, wanting to give desire and receive desire. That's what's called an intimate moment. That has nothing to do with dating or a relationship. You can have an intimate moment with anybody at any point in time on some level, mentally, emotionally, or physically.
People mistake, excuse me, the sex side of things in relationships as part of it, and basically they've got into this world where, you know, it's like, will you use it? You go, it's like the wham bam thank you ma'am type thing. There's a different perspective on it with regards to that. It's sort of part of the mating ritual in some ways, I guess, if you want to put it that way. It's just what you're saying is resonates with me. With sex is not really the biggest part of the relationship. It's that mental side of things that you got to work on. But because people go, oh, you know, they want to be I shouldn't say the word. I say used for sex and stuff like that. That's where we've come. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's not. It's, if that makes any sense. So I'm sort of rambling a little bit.
No, it does. I mean, a lot of people don't understand when it comes to sex that you are taking two auras and making oneness out of it. Our biomagnetic field is literally connecting with another biomagnetic field while we focus on each other. We are in the moment and present in a moment. That is a synchronicity between mindset and emotional states in that current moment, and that blends together to create like what you just said. Okay, I mean, we absorb. Why do we absorb? Think of it like water. You got two cups, you're pouring into each other. What are they going to do? They're going to balance each other out. If somebody's vibrating here, but you are having physicality with somebody here, you can literally absorb their anxiety, their depression. They are going to get that sigh of relief. They are going to get that boost because of you, and it's going to match you to where they are. It's going to drop you because you absorb it. We have to be mindful.
It's very needy. So like, I watched a show called Charmed, but there's a succubus. They use a demon called the succubus. It's very, very interesting where it's female based, and that's but I'm sure that was just for the TV show. But people who are energy vampires or a succubus because they want to suck the energy of white lighters. If you get, I'm using terminology, supernatural terminology, but that's what basically you were saying. So us, as me and Diana, as white lighters, and yourself, we're going to be very bloody careful who we get with. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean sexually, especially, but also into relationships, because you can actually pick up that sort of those, I guess, the 7 deadly sins in some ways.
Well, I mean, I want a lot of people to understand. I want to go back to something that you stated previously about the being used for sex. Okay, nobody uses anybody for sex, because to have sex, more often than not, it's a mutual agreement. What actually creates the sense of being used is somebody adding to the flavor. If you agree to be physical, but like friends with benefits, if you agree to that, don't add to the flavor. Don't say, oh, you know what, a relationship and love and romance and dates and all this stuff is going to transpire because I really like this person. And so I said, you know what, I got my foot in the door with them.
It's just being honest.
They didn't give me it, so they used me for just sex. No, you added to the flavor. You knew what it was and you agreed to it. A lot of people need to understand this in dating. I mean, most people don't even know why they're dating in the first place. Do you want to know the top 3 reasons why people date worldwide?
Go for it. I'm very interested.
Number 1, worldwide, boredom. They don't
Makes
know
sense. Absolutely.
They're dating out of boredom. So, but the problem with that is because you're dating out of boredom, you're not going to fully invest into somebody. So you're going to get that couple dates here and there, couple weeks here and there, maybe a month to 3 months there, and then it's done, and then you're right back into it. That's why you'll see people on dating apps that have been in it for years. They're doing it out of boredom to pass the time.
Bloody Tinder and all those shit. Jeez. Yeah, swipe right or whatever it is. I've never done it. Yeah.
I'm going to say this to everybody. If you're dating out of boredom, stop dating.
I think both of you will agree with me. They see us with our hobbies and what we're doing, and that's when the jealousy, envy, and maybe the sort of like the little crushes start happening. Oh, freedom and and then if it's a male or a female thing, because we're sort of programmed that way, I see that those little sort of crushes happen and go, oh yeah, he's nice, or she's free. I wouldn't mind that, and that's when you sort of get mixed up where the sex thing comes in and all the little sort of flirting goes on. It's just a nice thing. We're sort of living in a sort of rotational body vibration in a lot of ways. So we're going to be very careful.
Yeah, I mean, literally, you guys named the other two out of the top three. Number 2 is loneliness. Yeah. Loneliness is literally using another human being as a coping mechanism, and that creates codependency on them to feel better about yourself. And the number 3 is society norms, the trend of society. Oh, everybody else is doing it, therefore I should be doing it too. Those are the top 3 reasons why people date. And all 3 of them will fail a relationship.
I'd say, I guess we go back into that. That's great. That's pretty much I'd agree. And then you've got your own personal problems, or not personal, personal problems. You're working on. So people who have lack emotion in their life, they want it. They crave for it. Okay, attention and emotion. That was my ones. I'm still working on that, which I'll give you a scenario later on, where I'd be very interested on your theory. But
no, it's all right. All right. Everybody's heard we attract what we don't repair. That is actually inaccurate. We chase what we don't repair. Why are we attracted in pursuing somebody that is mentally and emotionally unavailable? It's because our defense mechanisms have been so familiar with mentally and emotionally withdrawing from dating and relationships or anything beyond friendship. And we became so familiar with it, we chase what we did not repair.
That's a really good way of looking at it, actually, because it's just like you're learning a lesson. It's like when we have our spiritual breakdown, you're basically cutting everything out and you're learning again. So that makes absolute total sense.
And the only way to repair that is, like, everybody that I've ever talked to about dating and relationships, I tell them there's one person you should be dating for your entire life until you die, and that's you. Date yourself. If you don't love all that you are, if you don't embrace all that you are, if you don't accept all that you are, if you don't build yourself to higher levels, how can you ever do that to another individual? How can you?
Makes total sense.
Stop chasing what is not repaired. Repair the shit so you can attract what you deserve. It has nothing to do with your inner child. It has everything to do with your defense mechanism. This is notorious with women. They pick safe picks, meaning a guy is at this level and they know they're slightly above them. Therefore, they don't have to fully invest into the male because they didn't meet that criteria.
You just answered my question.
That is
Just-
extremely common with women. And males, it is extremely common to naturally place a woman on a pedestal above them. Therefore, the male is already doomed to fail, just as the woman is doomed to fail by picking the safe pick. If you know somebody is mentally and emotionally, say, unavailable, but yet you pursue them anyways, you know you don't have to fully invest in them. You know you have that outlet that you go hold against them right from the start. And a male that puts a woman on a pedestal above him, he will begin to reject that woman because he declared her to be already superior and above him. This is common worldwide in between the ages of 15 and 45. That's the dating scene that we're in today. Literally right now across the world.
Well, yeah.
We also see the gaslighting from other people. That's like the biggest common term right now. We never face the gaslighting we're doing to ourselves. And that is our representation of what love is. See, if you have a dog, you can love your dog. If you have a child, you can love a child. But when you start having that walking checklist of criteria that needs to be met in order to give love, you're basically like telling a child, I'm not going to love you until you're fully potty trained, you sleep throughout the night, and you feed yourself, and you can walk and talk, and I don't have to do anything.
Unconditional love is not. It's been pushed down. Correct?
Yes. What love actually is has nothing to do with control, controlling the outcome, controlling the situation, having stipulations in order to meet that walking checklist. That has nothing to do with love at all. Love is a choice to be the best version of you and give it freely to someone else. It is to nurture them into higher possibilities instead of putting them in a straitjacket, limiting all they are just to hold that walking checklist that says that they deserve and earn it then. You can love somebody with nothing in return.
Well, you should.
That's what love is. That is how our own biology treats it. We can love somebody and watch them walk away. We can love somebody who died a decade ago.
How have I said you this too? That's fantastic. And I think I see a lot of people who say those things, but then they bring in their own personal emotions because obviously we're humans, and they go, "Oh, I'll love you, and I'll love you being with someone else." I just think that's great. That's fantastic. That's where it should be. But then Diana would say the same thing. As being an empath, you could feel that they're talking absolute bullshit.
Well, here's the thing: is the reason why I brought up love is like your case specifically. I think you guys have two different versions of love.
Yeah,
and that's what's creating it. Like me, my best friend is a female who lives many states away, and I love her to death, but I wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole, nor would I ever date her. Period. I do not view her even remotely in that aspect.
I've got that.
Does that mean does that mean the love is less than say what I have for my child? Not at all. It's just an unconditional love, embracing all that they are and nurturing them in hopes for a higher progression. It goes back to what I said in the beginning. It's the Disney fairy tale illusion of adding to what our version of love in a relationship and dating is. Instead, I mean, I'm going to be honest. We got 7 billion people on this planet, and I highly doubt 1% of them actually date a person for who they actually are.
as a person, and as you say, get away from all the love bullshit, would you treat a person that way? Like, you say one thing, excuse me, you'd say one thing, like, say a couple of people I know, and then you see them do another thing. They consciously are doing something that they've said to you they're not doing. And you just think, what the fuck's going on here? And I'm sitting there going, you told me something very close and intimate, but then you've gone and done the exact bloody opposite.
Well,
I go, what? I just sat there back. I've seen it for the last few weeks with a few people. You say one thing and then you do the exact same opposite. Relationships, not just sexual, but also friendships. They do the same. They just want to get into. It's like they want to get into your space, especially us being light workers in that way, or high vibration, as you said. Everything you're saying is resonating with me. It's just a case of opening up and doing what you and Cortez say. Just cut the bastards off and start fresh again and reprogram yourself.
Well, the biggest thing, like what you were just discussing, is multiple truths can exist at the same time. That is very unpopular in today's society. It's my way or the highway in today's society, but multiple truths can exist at the same time. We assume other people's intentions and we presume to know why they do what they do. It's what we talked about in the last one. We create our own conclusions instead of communicating with somebody on what things are to know these multiple truths. I've been in situations where I actually wasn't doing something, but I ended up doing it because I needed to, or it was a requirement, or the hand was just forced, or I simply made a mistake. Multiple truths can exist at the same time. We as a society need to understand that.
When I taught this, Matty, all the stuff you're talking about, excuse me, all the stuff you're talking about makes absolute sense. And it comes down to being programmed the wrong way and not looking after yourself. And then, as I said to you, the big thing for us as beings, I guess, as mammals, wanting to have our tribe, and we've found our tribe and all that, but that primal instinct to I guess, to mate in a lot of ways, and the mistake, especially guys, mistaking sex for love. I guess I can't speak for the females because I'm not one, but I'm sure it's the same sort of thing. But then all your personal issues and all that stuff, and it's a case of, I guess, really being taught properly, like we are right now, being educated in the ways of the way you're supposed to be. There's a lot of people that say things, but it all comes down to what you said in your first video. People looking after themselves first and just training themselves to be happy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, there's a lot of don'ts that I say in the dating scene. There's only essentially 5 dudes that can literally like just jumpstart in the dating scene. But there is a long list of don'ts. How many people know a woman that is dating or pursuing somebody that's already in a relationship or married?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Why is that? Why do you think that is? That intrigues me like you wouldn't believe. Like, why? And then on the other set, the woman who is married pursuing someone else. I guess it comes about both ways. Why do you think that is?
That is solely the Disney fairy tale illusion. You are finding lust and desire in the idea of someone. That version you created of them in your head. Most people date the imaginary version of the person standing in front of them. Shit. I ain't afraid to say it. Yeah, or they just fantasize about them, or they end up. I mean, I'm sorry, if you're pursuing somebody, if you're dating somebody who's already in a relationship, right there, right off the bat, you are envisioning yourself to be here. You're secondary. You're the second option. You literally just decrease your own value and your own self-worth. to be at this level, dreaming and fantasizing that you're going to be that number one. They married that person for a reason. They got comfortable with that person for a reason. They've been dating that person for years for a reason. If they were honestly going to leave them, they'd be single.
But what's the need? This is the need. You're not happy. You're trying to fill a void.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You're trying to fill a void.
It's also, let's say, sabotage somebody's happiness, family, relationships to fill your ego over an illusion created from your imagination of who that person is in a imaginary relationship with you. People are trying to manifest that. There's one word: karma.
The first thing that came to my head with that is, number one, it's against universal law. You don't do that because you're hurting someone. Simple as that. And you got to tame the ego. And number three, keep saying what you said. Have the relationship with yourself. And if people don't like it because you're rejecting them, fucking stiff fucking shit. Because you should not. Well, this is another one's coming. You should not reject yourself. From what you're telling us, you're rejecting yourself and putting someone else in there without the consideration of you.
And I'm going to say another one. This one is mainly aimed towards women. Sorry, ladies, but I think it's time for a little ugly truth on dating and relationships. When you date somebody for money because they are beneficial to a lifestyle that you want or are in need of assistance with, there is no difference between you and a brand new TV that was bought from the store. You are a possession. And like any possession, like that shiny new TV that they Windex and make sure it's all clean the first couple months, it gets dusty, it gets old, and they're already browsing newer and better TVs in the store a year or two later. Guess what? That's your relationship. That's you. When you
But you're putting yourself second too, Matty. That's what you just said.
Why sell yourself as a possession? Why sell yourself as a possession?
What are you losing? What you look inside you? That's why we have these spiritual awakenings. What all of us are doing now. It's amazing that we're living this life that we're reprogramming ourselves. Why would people not desperate housewives? What are they called? Beverly Hills Housewives and all that. So I look at it and go, and I've said this for years, you are a possession. I mean, you're living off this bloke. You're living off this bloke and you say you're a team and all that. That's bullshit. He's probably screwing the bloody friggin' secretary.
Yeah. I mean, I call it the Kardashian phenomenon. Everyone wants to be that successful woman that dates all these superstars and celebrities and all this and that. And most people forget where they actually became famous from. They were living off of daddy's money. Nobody even knew him. Well, now they know him because he became a female because he got so jealous over their attention that he actually changed his gender. Nobody knew him. They became famous off of being a possession and making a porn.
And people forget about that, mate. They go, oh, this guy's great, this guy. But it's like we're in our own world in a lot of ways. And that's what we talk about a lot on the life theories. And that's why the four of us have got together. We've all had our experiences and we're supposed to be together with what we've all gone through. But at the end of the day, it is quite simple. It's just a case of reprogramming and living in this world as well. And dealing with, the hardest thing for me is dealing with other people. Other than my soul family here, all of us get on really well. I mean, I'm openly talking about what we're doing here because I feel I'm in a safe space, I guess. I just go, yeah, all right, we're right. But we got to reprogram and just, yeah, as you said, cut everyone off and start work and loving yourself. And I think people don't love people who love themselves. They think they're bloody vain, selfish sons of bitches.
Well, here's the biggest thing with it when it comes to external and internal. we need to start actually practicing observing without evaluating. Don't pass judgment. Get rid of the walking checklist. Remove the hopes, wants, and expectations attached to people and to ourselves. Observe life, observe people without that evaluation. If you walk into the dating scene with a walking checklist of criteria that they're supposed to meet in order to get your attention, to get your time, you ain't dating the person. You're dating your damn checklist. You're not knowing them for who they are. You're not being present with all that they are. You're focused on that illusion from that checklist. Those hopes, wants, and expectations the imagination created. You know how many relationships, they don't ever tell you this statistic, that people have gotten divorces and broke up within a couple years later, got back together and spent the rest of their life together because they realized they weren't dating the person. They were dating that expectation of them. Then they actually got to know the person. And they found out they actually liked and loved who that person was.
I'll give you an example with that, Matty. Look, I love watching those trashy friggin' stuff. I love watching it because it's just, I sit there, the perspective, it goes, oh, you sit there, watch that shit. I actually look at the human development in a lot of people. I really do enjoy the psychology of it. I think Diana will be the same. She probably, and a lot of us enjoy the psychology of what we're learning in this spiritual journey. And I was reading an article about Nick Lachey and his missus. And you can see that they're the perfect couple. But if you go and actually read about how they were, they actually love each other, but they actually broke up. And then they came back and said, we actually love the person. And I read that, and they actually stated that. They said we became stronger because we love the person. But it goes against the norm. They didn't. It's like this little quote. And I thought that's what it's all about. That's exactly what you're saying. They actually went back, dated someone else and go, hang on. No, I love this person for that. We can work this work. And love and respect and trust. And I thought that was really good.
I mean, we have a habit of viewing the dating scene like Burger King, where you can just have it your way. You can't. I'm sorry, you can't. Only thing that walk-in checklist is good for is failing miserably in dating and relationships and in love. You can't have it your way. It is a human being with another human being working and compromising and communicating and growing together, supporting who that person is.
You have to actually deal with that rejection in a lot of ways, but the rejection is you trusted someone, where you should have trusted your instincts or however it would work. I mean, it's nice to get out there and experience it.
Well, that's right there, a prime example of multiple truths existing at the same time.
Yep.
Yes, that person broke that trust within you, but also your hopes, wants, and expectations you attached to that person created a self-disappointment.
Yes.
Prime example of multiple truths existing at the same time.
Yep. Fan. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's use the example that you gave. A successful, independent, goal-oriented, driven entrepreneur woman. That a lot of guys seem to be intimidated by them because of that masculine trait. Okay. I'm sorry, if they're intimidated by you, that is their own insecurities and that has nothing to do with you. Ladies, that has nothing to do with you. How could anybody be intimidated by somebody's goal oriented passion, drive into their purpose in their life? Isn't that quality traits and values that you actually can invest into and can potentially love about someone? Because they're willing to put that much effort and dedication and commitment into a relationship. Ladies, if a man is intimidated by your presence of being successful, goal-oriented, driven, that is the male's insecurities and he needs to deal with it. Period. And that goes the same with males. Males have this stereotype that if they are like that, they're a narcissist, they're a player, they are emotionally unavailable, they're mentally and emotionally, all they view women as sex. All that is BS. That is a female's insecurities coming to light because they don't have what they see in the other person.